Ladies and gentlemen and graphic designers, we're going to learn about part 4, more principles of graphic design. All right, so the first thing we're going to learn about is proportion. So proportion compares the sizes of things. So these things are equal and boring, equal and boring, equal and boring. So this is too small, too big, too small, too big, too small, too big. Okay, this, on the other hand, is attractive proportion. So this size, for whatever reason, to the human eye, typically this proportion is attractive to this. So too equal, too small to too big, good and good. Okay, um, so you can compare other things other than just size. It can be color, quantity, degree, so on and so forth. But typically, it's with size. Okay, um, so proportion is important. Um, so harmony is this harmony is good. This harmony is good. This makes us feel kind of off kilter, like it's falling over, uncomfortable. So if we were doing like a Halloween logo, well, this would be good. But if weren't doing a Halloween logo, then something like this with better harmony would be good. All right. So write this down in your paper notes. Harmony is agreement between the shapes that stress the similarities of all parts. Um, so draw or cut and paste into Word a logo that has good proportion and harmony. So an example, don't use this one, is the Adidas. So look at the size, 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 size. That's really similar to what we've done here and here. Okay, so find a logo and paste it into your Google Doc notes. That should say Google Doc. That has good proportion or harmony, and then answer these questions about it in your Google Doc notes. All right, so white space is an interesting use. So if you look at this, what do you see here? Well, you see a face, you see a face. So what did they draw the face with? With nothing. They drew the face with the paper, right? So you can use white space to draw stuff. Same thing here is they drew the cowboy. A lot of the cowboy they drew with black, with nothing, and a lot of the cowboy they drew with white, which was kind of nothing. So at any rate, um, so here's things where if you look here, there's some. So they put words in here. There's a little heart here that they drew with white space. They drew an F here with the paper. They drew a cityscape with the paper. They drew most of the panda with the paper. Okay, so that's called negative space. All right, so cut and paste into your Google Doc a logo that uses negative space and then answer the question. How did they do negative space? All right, repetition is an important one. The use of repetition to create movement occurs when elements which have something in common are repeated regularly, stuff like that. So you can answer these questions. What's the repetition and what's the repetition? But you'll see that all the time. So now I want you to draw or cut and paste into your Google Doc a logo that uses repetition, and then answer this in your Google Doc. In your paper notes, what are the two elements of the what are the two elements of repetition? So you see a circle, and if you see inside here, there's another circle, and then you see like it's not a circle, but it's the same curve as a circle, and then you see rectangle, 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 right? So lots of repetition. So you see repetition of line, 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 and you see shape, shape, shape. So the same thing is repeated. All right. So look at this thing. It has balance, proportion, negative space, and repetition. So it has balance. So look, if you it's equal stuff on both sides. Okay. Proportion. If you look at thick, thin, thick, thin, the differences have nice proportion. They drew a lot of the stuff they drew the bird with negative space, and then you have repetition. So the wing of the bird, 1, 2, 3, 4, matches the tree, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? It matches the olive branch, 1, 2, 3, 4, sort of thing. All right, so it has a nice proportion. All right, color is something that we're going to use, and so we can use colors in a different way. So write this down in your paper notes. Analogous colors can be used to create color harmony. So in a color wheel, colors next to each other are analogous colors. So like they're kind of almost the same. They create kind of harmony and smoothness. On the other hand, complementary colors are opposite. This and this. Complementary colors are used to create contrast. So if you had a purple thing and you wanted some yellow writing on it, well, you wouldn't use purple because it wouldn't show up. But if you use yellow writing on top of violet, it would show up. So the complementary colors create contrast, and sometimes you want that. The analogous colors create harmony, but on the other, again, if you put yellow letters on a green background, they're not going to stand out. So you can use color in different ways. Write this down in your paper notes. Hue is the same word for color. Saturation is the intensity or purity of color from white or gray to saturated. So this is purely saturated, and this is purely unsaturated. So, and in here, you're going to get different variations of that same color. So to desaturate a color, you can add white, black, gray, or the hue's complement. So in this case, if you added blue-green to it, that would desaturate it. Write this down in your notes. Tint is when you mix with white, so you're desaturating with white. Tone is when you're desaturating it with gray. Shade is when you're desaturating it with black. And these are all monochromatic, so you're getting the same color. Sorry. So monochromatic color are shades of one color. So monochromatic is when you're all the colors where you're adding black. Okay. So again, effective. So two contrasting colors, two complementary colors show up better than analogous colors. All right. And then we're going to do, I'll do this later where we'd go to color.com and pick colors. And I think we're going to skip the quiz. We're going to skip the quiz. And that is it for all the notes. Turn in the notes and turn the paper notes and turn in your Google Docs.